The first step of tiling is to lay down all the tiles and matching them. As you can see, the patterns are matching. This will make your things look great. It will take some time to you to do that. So you would have to lay down the tile and move them around. When you have moved them around, you're going to cut them because you will have a side row that need to be cut. One of the best things you can do to help yourself is to use, as you can see, masking tape. Basically, you are going to use the end of the tile that you cut as the siders. The advantage of doing this is the pattern will follow, so it will look like the floor tile is continuing on the wall. As you can see, there are wood borders. These wood borders help you to start on a straight line and guarantee that your pattern match your room. And as you can see on the other side, it is the same thing. You will cut some pattern and you will need to use them as side borders. When all this is done, you need to pile them out of the room and you will be ready to glue them. When you do a room, the first part is to do the porch. Basically, you need to cut your porch, so that will give you guidelines for your tiles. Make sure that if you're working on plywood, you have 1.5 inches of plywood. Basically, it's one layer of 3/4 of an inch plywood, and then you put on the other side, on the other axis, another layer of 3/4 plywood. The second 3/4 plywood shall be screwed on 6-inch center wood screw. Another important thing, and as you can see here, you can see the patterns are following. So it looks like the tiles are matching each other. And a very important part to make sure that your floor is really flat. So when you have laid down your tile, you should be able to walk anywhere and it should not crack any of your tile, and you should not have any tile flipping around when you walk over it. Because if your base is not perfectly flat, you're going to glue your thing and everything is going to break apart. This little tool here is one of the most useful tools to move your tile around to have continuous pattern. It is a wall plastering tool. So the blade is thin enough so it's easy to lift and move tiles around. When you put tiles back, be very careful that you do not overlapping the little plastic rust, because if you do, when you're going to step on that tile, you're going to crack it. You can see here the end of the lining piece of wood, because now we need to go and install some tile under the baseboard heater. And as you can see, the baseboard heater is perfectly lined up with the tiles. So when somebody look at it, everything looks perfectly parallel. When you're going to do some cutting, it will take you some high precision cutting, because the line close to the porch need to be perfectly lined, else it will look like a real amateur job. When you cut your tiles, leave yourself a little play on the side. As long as the play is less than the thickness of your side tile, there is no issue. It will be hidden, but that will make your life much easier at the installation and at the gluing process. When you do cutting, be precise, because you're going to see that for the next 20 years.